Fantastic. Okay, so my name is Jen Scott, and Ayan and I are going to be hosting this afternoon's event. It's our job to make sure that you get everything you need, you leave with loads more than you came with, and you really feel empowered.
I think it's important to have the She Is Summit because we've seen from evidence of programs that we've funded at Young Brent Foundation. We know from statistics around access to public spaces that young women often aren't in youth spaces. They often aren't out in parks and in outdoor spaces. They're very often in their own space, and we recognise that there is a need to provide an opportunity where young women can come together in their own space without any distractions and purely focus on what their challenges are, what their concerns are, and to hear from people who have responsibility in those areas about what they're going to do to ensure that whether as a young woman in Brent that you have exposure to opportunities, access to information and culturally appropriate provision.
At the Violence Reduction Unit, I get to work with the very best parts of society, and we are united in our drive to change a culture that is dangerously close to accepting that young people losing their lives to violence is a normal thing. One of my jobs is to put gender inequality into what we do, so I can ensure girls and young women aren't lost in our decision making about young people's lives. Today, I continue to volunteer on a helpline to support women affected by domestic abuse, which means that I can talk credibly about how policies affect real people. I can also be that voice to women that I wish that I've had in my life at times.
I'm really delighted to say I've been involved since 2022, since Maxine and I first started to talk about the concept of a She Is Summit. And I've been involved all the way along, supporting, bringing partners together, bringing speakers together, and facilitating part of the event. So my name's Sarah Willis, I'm from Metropolitan Thames Valley Housing, and there's a real need to listen to those voices that are underrepresented and underserved, because there's a huge amount of potential, but the doors aren't always open to those young women and girls.
Every day we know that women and young girls are actively modifying their behaviour across every aspect of their lives because of the threat of violence or feeling unsafe. From what we say, to what we wear, to where we go, to when we go. And I, like most women and girls in this city, I've actually changed my plans or my behaviours many times during my life just because of that fear of harassment, fear of violence. And that isn't right, that's not acceptable. And feeling unsafe, whether it's in school, colleges, online, on our streets, should not be inevitable, and yet it is one of the most pervasive human rights violations in the UK and across the world.
The reason why I find She Is Summit a very important event is because a couple of years back when this first initially started, I was actually a participant. So I was in the position of the participants who attended the event today. And one thing I can definitely highlight is I was very confused what this event was about, but this event kind of shaped me into the position I am in right now. And one thing I would definitely highlight is it's just about empowering females.
I think it's also an event that we can learn more about ourselves, about girls in our community, women in our community, how to build ourselves from what we think that we should be versus to what we can be. I think that's such a big difference, especially like girls of BAME or girls of colour. We're always told that you fit into this category and this category only. Like, you're not meant to go over it, you're not meant to exert anything else, and what's other to you doesn't belong to you. And I think it's 2024, can we stop with all these sort of things? Like, if you want to do something, you do it. So for example, like, I'm going into a very male-dominated sort of industry, going into uni in September, hopefully doing maths. You don't hear a lot of girls doing maths at uni, let alone maths at A-level. And it's just, you have to put yourself out there, and that's the only way you're going to actually improve. You're going to be able to get where you want to go, despite what everyone else wants to be throwing at you, wants to be saying. What really matters is what you want and what you think. Unless you're thinking negatively, then you think positively, and that's what matters.
I think it's important because it's a celebration of women, and it's a celebration of women particularly in our area in Brent. and I think that it's kind of a way for young people, young women to kind of see what a lot of people have done in their area, what a lot of people can do in different industries. We've had from people in policy, in creative industries, so it's just kind of way to generate hope and inspiration.
So hi, my name's Dawn Butler and I'm the Member of Parliament for Brent Central, and we're at the Civic Centre and this is part of my patch. There's a time when this could not happen. There's a time when this wouldn't have been allowed to happen. So having young women in this space, sharing, understanding that they don't have to suppress their power is important.
At today's event, I enjoyed speaking and interacting with the people and listening to other people's journeys and failures to get where they are now.
Today at this event, I've learned a lot of things, a lot of messages, and my speaking skills have gotten a lot better, and I've learned to socialise more.
One of the key messages that I've learned is to be successful and to try your best at everything, and don't listen to what other people say.
The She's Summit is really important, right? Because what it does, it gives a voice to young women, saying to them, right, that they are important, their voice is important, and they can actually achieve to the best of their abilities, and giving them the opportunity to meet other people and peers who can actually sort of explain to them, right, some of the challenges they face, right, so that they don't have to go through the same issues and the problems others faced. And I think it's about ambition and aspiration, because that's one of the things I would want my daughter to have as well, and I would want the young women in Brent, right, to actually go further and become the next leaders and captains of industry as well.
My message probably would be linked around the poem that I recited in regards to there's going to be barriers that are going to be put in their way, and no matter how high those barriers are, they will become taller. And it's also to use all the negativity that's going to be thrown at them and to change it into positivity that suits them.
The message I'd like them to leave with is don't let your past define your future. Because again, Dawn Butler and Sarah, who sit on the panel, they both spoke about their journey into Dawn Butler into the Houses of Parliament, and Sarah spoke about her journey into the film industry, and both of them had to overcome barriers, and especially both of them being women of colour, they had to overcome barriers to get to where they wanted to get to. So again, for me, it's about showing these young females that, just keep pushing and keep striving, and you'll get to where you need to get to.
I expect people to leave with an understanding that life will have its challenges. There's no way of escaping it, but there are people around them who don't want them to go through the same experiences as the previous generation, and to make sure, I think as Kim Wright says, that we lift one another up, that we provide that support, we provide those connections, and we change moment by moment, generation by generation.
I think the important message is to listen, but to listen to understand, and really listen to what is it that these young women today were telling us. And then from wherever you are and whatever leadership responsibility you have, in whatever way, you commit to go away and do one thing that's different because you listened and you understood the challenge.